Chapter 41 Threaten with Video and Knockout. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Shui was overjoyed and quickly sent her conditions to Chen Dong. I want 200 bottles of water, 10 boxes of bread, or 50 kilograms of rice, he. Seeing the listed supplies, Chen Dong couldn't help but pick them. These things are not cheap when converted, it's almost catching up with the price of the barrier wall that Chen Dong auctioned. However, although the price is a bit higher, Chen Dong can still afford it. As long as it is exchanged for daily necessities, there is no need to worry about not being able to afford it. However, Chen Dong doesn't want to be a sucker. Although the Tang sword blueprint is good, it is definitely not worth the price. After all, there is still a large amount of material costs. If the Tang sword is not sold at a sky-high price, it is a loss-making business. Therefore, Chen Dong wanted to whet Bai Shui's appetite and try to lower the price. Go and rob. There are a lot of supplies in the zombie group. I can't afford this blueprint. Go find someone else to buy it. Bai Shui was really anxious. If Chen Dong doesn't buy it, it will really rot in his hands or be sold at a low price. 10086, we are also acquaintances, I will give you a discount. Chen Dong felt a little pain when he saw Bai Shui's words. He sent a message word by word. Acquaintance, familiar person. That's true. We are not that close, but you failed to trick me and finally got yourself into trouble. Don't try to get close to me. Bai Shui was a little embarrassed. It was true that she failed to trick Chen Dong last time. If it were someone else, she would have blacklisted her or hunted her down long ago. The fact that Chen Dong could still chat with her for so long was already considered easy to talk to. 10086, I was wrong last time, I admit it, but you almost burned me to death. If I hadn't been lucky enough to dig the soil to survive, you wouldn't be able to see me now. You see, we are even now. Speaking of this business, we are doing it online, so you don't have to worry about me cheating you. That it seems that he is really in a hurry to make a move in exchange for daily necessities. Maybe he is running out of rice. Chen Dong looked at Bai Shui's series of flattering explanations and laughed secretly. He naturally wanted the Tang Dao. It seems that it is time to bargain. Then you can make it cheaper, 50 bottles of water, 20 kilograms of rice. This price is very suitable. As long as you agree, I will forgive our past affairs, and we can continue to discuss other cooperation in the future. When Bai Shui saw the price, she immediately disagreed and sent a message to refute. This price is absolutely impossible, it is too low. Chen Dong didn't say much nonsense. Then you keep it for yourself. I'm not interested and can't afford a higher price. Bai Shui suddenly sent a message threatening. 10086, then I want you to pay the same supplies as before to buy a video of yours. What do you think? Then, Bai Shui sent a short video of Chen Dong driving a car to escape from the zombies. I don't know how Bai Shui took the video, but Chen Dong's face can be clearly seen in the video. Chen Dong's face sank. If his identity is exposed, it will not be a good thing. Too many people covet 10,086 supplies, even if Chen Dong now lives in the villa area. Many survivors have moved in and know that 10086 is in the wall, but they only know that 10086 is here, but they don't know what 10,086 looks like. Chen Dong hides very well. Every time he and Xia and she go out to collect supplies, they sit in the car wearing hats or masks. When they are in the villa, the towering wall can perfectly cover their internal situation. As for the survivors who sneaked into the villa, Chen Dong never left any alive, therefore, most people don't know what 10,086 looks like. If Bai Shui released this video, Chen Dong would really be in a state of being an enemy of everyone. When going out to hunt zombies, you must be careful of other survivors. This is too inconvenient. It is necessary to find Bai Shui's location as soon as possible and get the video from her. Otherwise, the consequences will be disastrous. Chen Dong immediately bought an uncharged unmanned camera on the trading platform and started charging it. There are already a lot of electrical appliances on the current trading platform, such as rice cookers, washing machines, and drones. However, many people are not lacking these items, but lacking electricity. After charging, Chen Dong sent out a drone and began to search for Bai Shui's traces. Coincidentally, Bai Shui was not far away, or she deliberately came to the vicinity of Chen Dong's villa area. I don't know what the intention is, but because of the close location, the drone sent by Chen Dong soon found the other party's traces. Chen Dong immediately set out and headed for the forest where Bai Shui was. It must be said that Bai Shui's choice to hide in this forest was a very wise choice. Many survivors are very afraid of the forest, fearing that there are many zombies in it, but in fact, the zombies in the forest in the park have almost died. There are only a few left, or even none, because zombies are clustered. If the number of zombies in an area begins to decrease, they will begin to spontaneously gather together again and become a new zombie group. This is also the reason why the zombie group can never be killed and the next wave will soon appear. Chen Dong is very familiar with the environment around the villa area, and he also knows that there are no zombies in this forest. However, many people still think that this forest is very dangerous. It seems that Bai Shui is really good at intelligence gathering. Chen Dong is very fast. When running at full speed, he is not inferior to a cheetah at all, but just like a cheetah, there is no way to maintain such an extreme speed. Not long after, Chen Dong ran into the forest. The drone in the sky also kept providing him with Bai Shui's location. Bai Shui stayed in the same place. At this time, she frowned tightly, looking very confused. Why did 10,086 not reply after sending the message for so long? But she didn't know that at this moment, there was a person behind her slowly approaching her. Bai Shui seemed to notice something, and suddenly turned her head to look behind. There was no one. She just thought she was too sensitive, and said to herself, could it be that I haven't rested well recently, and my mental state is too bad, and I am always suspicious? Snap! Suddenly, there was a sound of branches being stepped on and broken behind her. Bai Shui pulled out her crossbow and turned to look behind her. There was still a dense forest behind her. Bai Shui frowned. She clearly heard the sound of branches being stepped on and broken. It couldn't be a natural break. It must be a sound caused by heavy objects, but why couldn't she see anything when she turned her head? If there was a person or an animal, how could it hide so quickly? Just as Bai Shui was puzzled, she felt a sharp pain in the back of her neck. She didn't have time to react, and instantly lost her ability to resist and collapsed to the ground. At the same time, Chen Dong lifted his invisibility and appeared in front of her. Chapter 42, Don't be afraid of zombie bites, reinforcements. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at Chen Dong who suddenly appeared, Bai Shui's eyes flashed with shock. Then, she did not move around casually, nor did she pay attention to the rope tied to her body, but just said calmly, 10086, it's useless for you to catch me. Although the blueprint is on me, you can open my backpack if you kill me, but I tell you, I still have a backup of the video with my dad. If I die, he will definitely publish the video. You'd better let me go now. Let's sit down and talk, and peace is the most precious. Hearing this, Chen Dong smiled, revealing his white and neat teeth. He stretched out his hand to lift Bai Shui's chin and said nonchalantly, what if I don't want to let you go? I don't think you have any bargaining chips to negotiate with me. If you think that my identity exposure will have a great impact on me, then I tell you, you are wrong. In the villa area where I live, many people know what I look like, and this video is dispensable to me. Bai Shui's chin was lifted by Chen Dong, and when she heard what Chen Dong said, she smiled cunningly, revealing her cute little tiger teeth. You lied. Chen Dong was shocked when he was exposed, but he said calmly, oh, why do you say that? Bai Shui smiled even more and said slowly, how could a Tang sword blueprint allow you to find my location at all costs, and finally not kill me immediately? I guess it's for the video. But you are worried about the risk of backup leakage, so you want to interrogate me? I was not sure just now, but seeing your reaction and eyes, it is already very obvious. Chen Dong was speechless. Unexpectedly, Bai Shui exposed what he thought in his heart. Pinching Bai Shui's face gently, Chen Dong narrowed his eyes slightly, and a murderous intention emerged. This woman is very dangerous. In this case, there is no other way. I can only kill you. After killing you, go back and take a bath to get rid of the bad luck. Kill or cut me, it's up to you. Bai Shui didn't take Chen Dong's threat seriously, then he reacted, with a look of shock on his face, and said in disbelief, wait, what did you say? You can actually take a shower? How is this possible, such a luxury? Bai Shui didn't believe it, and didn't want to believe it. You know, she hasn't been able to take a shower since she came to this doomsday world. The most luxurious behavior is to wipe her face with water every few days, then, with the water resources that are just enough to wash the shampoo, he washes his hair. Chen Dong can actually take a shower. It's incredible. However, after taking a closer look at Chen Dong, there is still the scent of shampoo and shower gel on his body, which seems to verify that this is the fact. Chen Dong smiled and shrugged. Nothing is impossible. Is there anyone who can't take a shower after coming to the doomsday world for more than 10 days? No way, there won't be anyone who is so unhygienic. Hearing this, Bai Shui gritted her teeth in anger. Isn't this talking about her? Bai Shui just wanted to speak, but Chen Dong's face suddenly changed and he moved his face closer. The distance between the two was only a few centimeters, and Bai Shui could clearly feel Chen Dong's breath hitting her face. Bai Shui leaned against a tree behind her, and there was no way to avoid it. Her heartbeat accelerated. She had never been in such close contact with a boy before, and she was a little nervous. You, what are you doing? Chen Dong was staring at the strange bite mark on Bai Shui's neck. After hearing the question, he pulled away. You said it yourself, I am a big man, and I must do it when I see a beautiful woman. Bai Shui was a little annoyed, but at this time, Chen Dong grabbed Bai Shui's face, making it impossible for her to speak properly, and she could only mumble. Let me ask you something, the tooth marks on your neck, are they bitten by zombies? But how come you are not infected? That the tooth marks on Bai Shui's neck are exactly the marks of zombies. Under normal circumstances, if you are bitten by a zombie, you will definitely be infected, but Bai Shui did not die. In fact, it seems that there is no effect at all. Could it be that Bai Shui has antiviral serum? Or took some medicine? Chen Dong wanted to know. After hearing what Chen Dong said, Bai Shui subconsciously shrank her neck, then she argued stubbornly. How could it be a zombie? This is the strawberry mark that my boyfriend and I had before. Chen Dong was stunned at first, and then laughed. He showed his neck, which was the real strawberry mark that Xia Anqi had planted last night, and said with a sneer, boyfriend? Strawberry mark. You haven't even seen a movie, right? Can tooth marks and strawberry marks be the same? This is a strawberry mark. Bai Shui looked at the strawberry mark under Chen Dong's neck, speechless. She didn't expect that the so-called strawberry mark was actually sucking out bruises one after another with the mouth. She had always simply thought it was a tooth mark. After all, she hadn't tried it either. Chen Dong pulled up the collar of his clothes and said seriously, tell me honestly, what is the reason that makes you not afraid of zombie infection? However, Bai Shui still refused to speak. At this time, the picture from the drone showed that a group of people were walking towards them. Chen Dong frowned and said, who did you call? Bai Shui immediately felt confident and replied as a matter of course, what else? At some point, Bai Shui had secretly spread the news through her own means. Now, her teammates have arrived. Chen Dong sighed, silently put on a mask and a cap, and waited patiently. Soon, a group of people came over. The one walking in front was a middle-aged man, who was elegant and naturally exuded a scholarly temperament. A careful comparison revealed that he was quite similar to Bai Shui. Sure enough, the leading middle-aged man saw Bai Shui and immediately shouted excitedly. Xiao Shui, how are you? Are you not injured? Dad, I'm fine. Bai Shui was tied up by Chen Dong. When she heard the other party's anxious questioning, she could only speak loudly to reassure the other party. The middle-aged man looked at Chen Dong and his expression turned cold. Everyone, come together and rescue Xiao Shui. Chapter 43. The conditions for releasing the person are very high. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone showed their weapons. Some held knives, some held crossbows, but there were no hot weapons. Obviously, this team was relatively weak. No wonder they always sold intelligence. The biggest reason was that they were not able to take it. Chen Dong drew out his Tang sword. He did not take out his pistol, but chose hand-to-hand combat. He wanted to test his physical fitness after upgrading and see what level he was among the survivors. He had no chance before, so he could not miss it easily this time. Everyone thought it was a crushing defeat. This was indeed the case, but the result was unexpected. Chen Dong instantly chopped down 3 people by himself, scaring the others so much that they dared not move forward. Chen Dong was also very surprised. Originally, he thought that his physical fitness was at most a little better than that of other survivors. Unexpectedly, it was so ridiculously strong, his speed was so fast that Bai Shui's teammates could not aim with crossbows, blood flowed on the Tang sword, and in an instant, he killed 3 survivors with weapons. "Stop, we surrender," Bai Xianqing hurriedly called for a halt. If Chen Dong continued to kill, none of them would survive. "May I ask your name?" "As long as you release Xiaoxue, I will do my best to meet any conditions." Chen Dong nodded and said, "My last name is Chen. I don't want much. Just give me the Tang sword blueprint. Also, I'm interested in why Bai Shui was not infected after being bitten by the zombies." "There is no problem with the Tang sword blueprint. It's in Xiaoshue's backpack. Mr. Chen just needs to ask Xiaoxue to open her backpack and she can take it." Bai Xianqing readily agreed, but then hesitated. As for why Xiaoxue was not infected, Chen Dong narrowed his eyes. Walking to Bai Shui, he hung the Tang sword on Bai Shui's neck and said coldly, "It seems that Mr. Bai doesn't care so much about your daughter's life. Even at this time, you are still hiding it." Bai Xianqing was a little anxious, seeing that his precious daughter might be in danger of life. He hurriedly said, "No, no, no. I say, Mr. Chen, don't be impulsive." The second-in-command of Bai Xianqing's team was standing next to him at this moment. Hearing Bai Xianqing's compromise, he hurriedly stopped him and said, "Boss, this is not okay. That thing is the foundation of our team. If you say it out now, it will cause a fatal disaster." But at this time, Bai Xianqing simply couldn't listen to anyone's dissuasion. He just wanted his daughter not to be hurt. The reason why Xiaoxue was not infected after being bitten by the zombies is entirely because we obtained antiviral serum. Chen Dong suddenly realized it. This is why Bai Shui is different from ordinary people. Knowing that Bai Shui was not afraid of zombie infection because of the injection of antiviral serum, Chen Dong couldn't help but feel jealous. If he and Xia Anqi can both be injected with this serum, it will be a great safety guarantee. You know, in the doomsday world, the biggest threat is still zombies. If you can be immune to infection, then if you are conservative, you can survive to the end as long as you hide in a hidden place, must get the antiviral serum. This was the first time he had such a strong desire. "I can spare your daughter, and even you, I can let you leave safely. But you must exchange it for the antiviral serum." Bai Xianqing frowned. Finally, he gritted his teeth and agreed. "Okay, I promise you." However, the second-in-command of the team loudly dissuaded him, "Boss, this won't work. If the antiviral serum is handed over, there will really be nothing. We will rely on the antiviral serum to make a fortune in the future. If you hand over the antiviral serum now, you will cut off our way of survival." Bai Xianqing's face sank, and he shouted, "Black Tiger! You have to understand that I am the leader of this team, and I have the final say in this team." During the quarrel, the air seemed to be frozen. The teammates around the two began to confront each other, and they seemed to be divided into two forces in secret. Bai Xianqing stared at Heihu and said slowly, "Heihu, if you want to work alone, I won't stop you. But as long as you are still in this team, I am the boss. Do you have any opinion on my decision?" After a stalemate, Heihu finally pursed his lips and nodded. Okay, you are the boss. You all, listen to the boss." Chen Dong watched Bai Xianqing and Heihu quarreling and frowned slightly. He doesn't care about these internal struggles, he only cares about the antiviral serum. Chen Dong said impatiently, "Hand over the antiviral serum quickly, and I will let him go." "It's just a matter of a moment, Mr. Bai, there is no need to dawdle, right?" Bai Xianqing explained with a smile. "Mr. Chen doesn't know that the amount of antiviral serum is very small. For safety reasons, we didn't carry it with us, but sent someone to guard it. We have to go back and get the antiviral serum before we can trade with Mr. Chen." Chen Dong nodded and accepted this reason. Then, he proposed a condition. "Then please come to this old place at noon 3 days later with 20 bottles of antiviral serum. At that time, we will hand over the goods in exchange for the person." When Bai Xianqing heard this lion-like condition, he immediately became anxious. "Mr. Chen, we can't take out 20 bottles of antiviral serum." When Chen Dong heard this, his face immediately turned cold. He gently moved the tip of the knife closer to Bai Shui's neck and sneered. "I was sincere in offering a price, but I didn't expect you to be so petty here. It's just 20 bottles of antiviral serum, and you said you can't take it out, Bai Xianqing explained helplessly. Mr. Chen, it's not that I'm not sincere enough. Xiao Shue's life is in your hands, how could I not be honest? It's just that we don't have so many bottles of antiviral serum. Chen Dong thought about it and was relieved. Indeed, if something like antiviral serum can be sold everywhere, it would be a bit unreasonable. The threat of zombies has dropped several levels directly, so Chen Dong changed his words. Well, I won't make it difficult for you. 10 bottles of antiviral serum, no less. Bai Xianqing still shook his head and said, Mr. Chen, 8 bottles. This is all the antiviral serum we have. We got 9 bottles of antiviral serum from the supply box. 1 bottle was given to Xiao Xue, who was unfortunately bitten by a zombie. We kept the others. The rest, give them to Mr. Chen. Chen Dong looked at Bai Xianqing's expression carefully and didn't think he was lying. Okay, 8 bottles is 8 bottles. Next, Miss Bai Xue will stay at my humble home for 3 days. 3 days later, as agreed, we will meet here to hand over the goods and the people. Chapter 44. He brought a woman back. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Chen Dong finished speaking, he asked Bai Xianqing and others to leave. The other party had no choice but to do so, but before leaving, Bai Xianqing was very worried. Mr. Chen, please don't hurt Xiao Xue these days. She is still young. Chen Dong naturally heard the hidden meaning of this sentence. This is treating me as an old pervert. Chen Dong said lightly, Mr. Bai, you are overthinking. I guess you have also seen the video. I am not that kind of wretched pervert. I have my bottom line. You can rest assured that your daughter will definitely return intact. Bai Xianqing then remembered that 10,086 in the video was also a young man, and he looked upright, not like a villain who took advantage of others' misfortune. Bai Xianqing said with some shame, Mr. Chen, don't mind. I am just too concerned. Then, I will take my leave first. Bai Xianqing turned around and left. After walking a few steps, he couldn't help but look back and told Bai Xue, Xiao Xue, you have to be obedient these days and don't make Mr. Chen angry. 3 days later, Dad will bring antiviral serum to take you home. Bai Xue nodded. Dad, I will be obedient, you go back first. Bai Xianqing couldn't help but sigh, then he walked in front of the team and left first. He who also looked back at Chen Dong and Bai Xue, and finally left. After Bai Xianqing and others walked away and the drone in the sky could not see their traces, Chen Dong let down his guard. Suddenly he hugged Bai Xue around the waist. The two of them got close, and suddenly Chen Dong's solid chest pressed against her. Bai Xue's heart was beating wildly, and her expression was angry. Hey, although I am your captive, can you not take advantage of me casually? Chen Dong said with a smile, I can let you go, but you have to open your backpack to me, otherwise, I don't feel at ease to let you stay too far away from me. Who knows if you will do something dirty. Bai Xue's face was slightly dark. In her heart, she did have the idea of escaping. Unexpectedly, Chen Dong was so vigilant that he didn't give her any chance. Bai Xue could only helplessly open her backpack permissions. The things inside were left to Chen Dong to obtain. Chen Dong took a look. The supplies were pitifully few, and the only valuable thing was the Tang sword blueprint. Chen Dong only left some daily supplies, such as bread, mineral water, etc. Other things, as long as they might pose a threat to him, were all taken away. After the potential threat was eliminated, the rope on Bai Xue was untied. Bai Xue rubbed her wrist and suddenly ran away, but before she ran far, she was immediately caught by Chen Dong, who caught up, then hugged tightly. Be honest, don't challenge my patience. As long as you behave, I won't touch you, and I'll even give you good food and drink. But if you don't know what's good for you, and run out to be eaten by zombies, or be caught by other survivors as toys, I won't be responsible. After Chen Dong finished speaking, he let go of his hand and walked towards the villa area. Let's go. Bai Xue grinned behind him. After hesitating for a long time, she followed. Without a weapon, she couldn't go far alone. Let's go. When Chen Dong went out, he took out the car from the garage and put it in his backpack. Driving back with Bai Xue at this time saved a lot of time. Back to the villa area, the barrier wall sensed Chen Dong's car and automatically opened the door. After letting it pass, the door was slowly closed. In the villa, Xia Anqi heard the sound outside the barrier wall and the roar of the car engine, and knew that Chen Dong was back. She was so excited that she didn't have time to change her slippers, and ran to the yard to greet Chen Dong, but the scene in front of her made her a little confused. Chen Dong came back, but with a woman. He walked down from the co-pilot seat where she often sat. Bai Shui also saw Xia Anqi, whose appearance was comparable to hers. For the first time, even her hot body added a lot of points to her. Bai Shui secretly looked at her thin and delicate body, and said sourly, "Oh, I didn't expect that there is a beautiful woman in a golden house." Then, she walked straight into the villa and passed by Xia Anqi. After entering, she directly found the iced cola in the refrigerator and opened it, as if she didn't treat herself as an outsider. Xia Anqi, who was still outside the house, walked towards Chen Dong and asked hurriedly, "Chen Dong, who is she and why did she come to our house?" Chen Dong was stunned by the question. He wanted to explain, but found it a bit troublesome. So he said, "Her name is Bai Shui, and she will stay here for a few days." "Well, it's hard to explain for a while. You can help her clean up a room later." "I'm so hungry. I've been out for a day. What did you cook tonight? Come in and eat." Tai Anqi, who was held by Chen Dong, forced a smile and walked into the villa together. At night, after taking a shower, Xia Anqi walked out of the bathroom, climbed onto the bed, and approached Chen Dong. Chen Dong was originally looking at the production materials of the Tang sword drawings, but was interrupted. He wanted to ask Xia Anqi to stop making trouble, but before he could say anything, his mouth was blocked. Chen Dong was confused. Then, he couldn't care less. "You came to me tonight, let me see how I deal with you." Another big battle. Bai Shui was locked in the room and couldn't sleep at all. She sat up from the bed angrily, and cursed with shame and anger. "Shameless. Shameless. Too shameless. I want to sleep." Chen Dong was very curious as to why Xia Anqi, who was originally somewhat traditional and conservative, made such an unusual move on this ordinary night. "Anqi, is today a special day? Why do you seem to be a little good at playing tonight?" Xia Anqi slumped against Chen Dong. After hearing these words, she gently pushed aside a few strands of hair that were damp with sweat and blocked her eyes. "Do you like it?" Chen Dong was a little ashamed. "I like you, but I like the real you more. You were a bit deliberate tonight." Xia Anqi was stunned and asked, Where is it fake? The shouting is a bit too exaggerated." Xia Anqi stood up, and her whole face seemed to be stained with red dye, and it was red and transparent. She snorted and retracted her face into Chen Dong's arms, wishing she could find a crack in the ground and crawl in. Chen Dong gently pulled Xia Anqi's red ears, asked her to look at him, and smiled softly. "Next time, you don't have to take the initiative to cater to me. The happiness of two people is happiness. Tell me, you must have something on your mind, otherwise it's not that abnormal." Xia Anqi was a little embarrassed. "Actually, it's not a big deal." Chen Dong raised his eyebrows and pretended to be unhappy. "If you're not being honest, I'm going to get angry. I don't want it to be hidden between us." Xia Anqi said hurriedly, "Chen Dong, don't be angry. I didn't mean to hide it from you, I just feel a little embarrassed. If there is anything embarrassing between us, please tell me." Xia Anqi was silent for a moment and asked seriously, "Chen Dong, who is that Bai Shui?" Chapter 45, Making Tang Dao, sold out instantly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's it. Chen Dong was stunned for a moment. Xia Anqi nodded solemnly. Obviously, this matter was very important to her. Chen Dong explained, "Bai Shui is the person who sold me the gold-level material box information before. Do you remember today, I told you that I wanted to buy a special Tang sword blueprint? It was Bai Shui who wanted to trade. Originally, I just wanted to bargain, but I didn't expect that she would take out a video showing my face. Of course I can't let it leak out, so I found a way to find her, arrested her, and let out her father. Guess what happened?" Xia Anqi was listening very enthusiastically. Seeing Chen Dong stop, she even kept it a secret, and hurriedly tickled Chen Dong's armpits to urge him. I won't guess, just tell me. Chen Dong laughed and continued, then, I found that Bai Shui was not afraid of zombie bites. After asking, I found out that she had taken antiviral serum. So, I made an agreement with her father that I would exchange 8 bottles of antiviral serum for his daughter 3 days later. Hearing this, Xia Anqi finally realized it. So that's how it is, I thought. Chen Dong hummed. What did you think? Xia Anqi whispered, I thought Bai Shui was a wild flower you kidnapped from outside, and I couldn't eat tonight. Chen Dong laughed. You silly woman, thinking about these nonsense. Isn't it enough to have you at home? Why would I go looking for wild flowers? Xia Anqi shook her head and said seriously, Chen Dong, in this doomsday world, I don't mind you being promiscuous. It's strange to say, if it was in the past, I would never tolerate the behavior of playing with 2 boats at the same time. But now I just want you to have me in your heart and not abandon me. Chen Dong was a little shocked, he didn't expect that Xia Anqi was so insecure that she even just wanted him not to abandon her. I don't allow you to think like that, I only want you. Xia Anqi chuckled. Oh. What about the one who always chats with you? Chen Dong hurriedly explained, Angie, don't get me wrong, Tian Xiaoyu and I are just good friends. Xia Anqi stretched out a finger and gently tapped Chen Dong's lips, signaling him not to say anything more, then he said gently, Chen Dong, you don't need to explain to me, you just need to know that I love you very much and will always be by your side. I hope you won't let me down. That's enough. Chen Dong hugged Xia Anqi emotionally. Angie, I will always love you. Don't worry about that. Xia Anqi was hugged tightly and closed her eyes at ease. Then you must do what you say. Then she became sleepy and fell asleep. Chen Dong smiled slightly, kissed Xia Anqi's forehead, and the two hugged each other and fell asleep. The next morning, Chen Dong took out the special Tang sword that he had just bought a lot of materials to make and looked at it carefully. Tang sword, silver level weapon, special, attack power, 15. Special effect, critical hit, when attacking zombies. It can cause an additional 30% damage, and the wounds caused by the Tang sword cannot be healed. Chen Dong came to the zombie gathering point outside the villa area and randomly found a lone unlucky zombie, ready to try the power of this critical hit Tang sword. He picked up a stone from the ground, extended his thumb with his other hand, and squinted his eyes to calibrate the range, then, he threw it hard, bang. The stone hit a zombie on the head. The zombie looked at Chen Dong, who threw the stone blankly, and then ran over with a low roar. Chen Dong pulled out his Tang Dao and got ready. When the zombie rushed over, a silver light flashed. The zombie's left hand was cut off at the elbow, and the pain made the zombie scream. Chen Dong observed the zombie's wound and found that the wound cut by the critical Tang Dao did not heal. You know, the self-healing ability of zombies is very strong. Even if the hands and feet are cut off, the bleeding will stop quickly. And now the left hand wound of this zombie is still dripping with the zombie's smelly black blood, and there is no sign of healing at all. After verifying the power of the critical Tang Dao, Chen Dong chopped off the zombie's head with a knife and filmed the process into a video. Then, he started to forge the remaining critical Tang swords. Tang sword blueprint, iron pieces, 50 pieces, whetstone, 1 piece, additional status. Critical, level, silver, number of times left to forge, 19 times. Do you want to forge 19 Tang swords? Yes/no. Chen Dong clicked to forge. 950 pieces of iron pieces, 19 pieces of whetstones, all the inspection materials are complete, start forging. As the system prompt sounded, with a ding, Chen Dong's backpack had 19 more critical Tang swords. Chen Dong kept 10 of them and put the other 10 on the trading platform. After a while, many people began to notice. Number 353346, I just saw 10 Tang swords on the trading platform. They said they have a critical hit status. Killing zombies can increase damage by 30%, and the wounds cannot be healed. I like them, but they are so expensive. Number 324346, I can afford it, but who knows if this critical hit Tang sword is really as powerful as described. If it is not very useful after buying it, it will be a waste. After all, it is not a small amount of money. Number 10010, don't blame me for not reminding you. This is a product from 10086. I don't think he can sell such a good thing. If he has a good thing, won't he keep it for himself? Number 355221, I bought one and it feels okay. However, I haven't sharpened it with a zombie yet, so I don't know how it works in actual combat. Number 10,000, you have never used it in actual combat, what good things can 10086, who is just making a fortune, have? Number 10086, you two guys are slandering me again, right? Come on, let's watch a video. I just recorded it with a critical Tang sword, attached video. Chen Dong uploaded the video of using a critical Tang sword to chop down a zombie. You can clearly see the state of the zombie after being chopped down by the critical Tang sword, as well as the attack power of the critical Tang sword. It is definitely the best among the known cold weapons. After all, most of the cold weapons on the trading platform are ordinary assembly line products. As soon as the video came out, the critical strike Tang swords he put on the shelf were sold out instantly. Scarcity makes things valuable. There are only 10 critical strike Tang swords, and even though the price is relatively high, there are many people who can afford it. It's just a matter of whether you are willing to give it up. The next moment, many survivors in the chat channel who hesitated and failed to grab the critical strike Tang swords wailed, number 453543, ah. I didn't get the critical Tang sword, so sad. Number 674567, 10086, do you still have the critical Tang sword? I'm willing to pay a higher price than before. Number 563278, yes, I want one too. I've sent a private message, 10086, check the message. Number 10010, I'm really impressed by you guys, isn't it just a broken Tang sword? What so? Number 10086, unfortunately, I only have 10 critical Tang swords to sell. The Tang sword blueprint has been damaged, and no new critical Tang swords are being produced for the time being. It can be said that it is temporarily out of print, and we can only wait for the same blueprint to be released later. Amid the wailing of the survivors who didn't get the critical Tang sword, the shocking news from the sheriff's team suddenly came on the chat channel. The entire survivor circle was shocked. Chapter 46, Mutated Creatures Appear, Pressure to Survive. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The emergence of higher-level zombies and mutant creatures has almost become a fact that all survivors have come to terms with, but they did not expect that this day would come so soon. It caught them off guard. Not long ago, the sheriff's team posted an announcement on a public chat channel, number 12315, hello, survivors. I'm the sheriff. I'm very excited now and can't hide my joy. I want to share my joy with everyone immediately. Our team just hunted a mutant zombie boar. This should be the first time that survivors hunt mutant creatures. It is definitely a moment worth recording in history. I think it is necessary to share it with everyone. Number 352525, Mutated Creatures. Mutated creatures appeared so soon. I even have to take a detour around small zombie groups. I can't keep up with the development of zombies. This is killing me. Number 465435, fuck, I seem to have found mutant creatures. Oh my god, is this still a dog? It's almost catching up with a cow. The mutant creature is too outrageous. It found me. Fortunately, I was in a high position and it couldn't get up. I was almost scared to death. Number 353436, it's over. I can't beat it at all. The supplies are almost used up. I'm ready to dig a hole for myself and wait for death. Chen Dong looked at the information and was also a little solemn. So far, he has not encountered any mutated zombie creatures, so he doesn't know how strong they are. However, the sheriff's team was able to hunt down the first mutated zombie creature, and their strength is indeed very strong. Chen Dong touched his chin, thinking that the sheriff would probably use this huge momentum to recruit people again. If things continue like this, he will come to settle accounts with himself one day. He doesn't believe that the sheriff will be the kind of person who lives in peace. After all, Chen Dong's strength is unfathomable, and the threat to him is too great. When the sheriff thinks that his strength has expanded to a certain extent, Chen Dong concludes that it will be the time for the sheriff to trouble him. However, Chen Dong is looking forward to that day. He also wants to see what the other party has. The sheriff quickly sent a message to the chat channel again. This is a short video. And a huge wild boar is revealed in front of all the survivors. This mutated zombie wild boar has a huge wound on its abdomen, deep enough to see the bone, and there are dense gunshot wounds on its body. If it weren't for the fact that it can't be eaten after being infected by the zombie virus, then this huge wild boar could provide meat for several days. Number 436745, fuck, a sow is as big as an elephant. Number 78567, is this still a pig? I thought it was a slightly larger mutant zombie wild boar, but it's so outrageous. It must have changed to a different species, right? Number 457346, TSK, the sheriff's team is so strong, and they have guns, awesome. Then, the sheriff sent a message. Survivors, what are you still hesitating about? Join the police station as soon as possible. Our strong strength is obvious to all. In this doomsday world, only unity can have a chance of survival. I sincerely invite survivors and small groups who have not yet joined the team to join us. As Chen Dong expected, the sheriff really increased his publicity at this point, taking advantage of the shock brought by hunting the first mutant zombie wild boar. He demonstrated the strong strength of his team and attracted survivors. However, killing such a large mutant wild boar does have the capital to promote it. Chen Dong didn't say anything, but was quietly lurking in the chat channel, looking. At the picture of the mutant zombie boar, Chen Dong recognized the narrow abdominal wound at a glance, which was caused by the critical Tang Dao. He was not surprised that the sheriff had a critical Tang Dao. After all, 10 Tang Daos were listed on the trading platform. If the sheriff's team wanted to buy them, they couldn't afford them. He even suspected that the sheriff's team bought more than one. What made Chen Dong more concerned was the gunshot wound on the mutant boar. Although he vaguely guessed that the sheriff might have firearms, he was still a little apprehensive when his guess was proven to be correct. After all, having hot weapons is completely different from having only cold weapons. Then, Chen Dong breathed a sigh of relief again. Fortunately, the ammunition on the trading platform was pitifully small, and the sheriff and his team would inevitably consume it. Like Chen Dong using a P92 pistol to hit the momentum of unlimited firepower, they had no way to replicate it. What's more, Chen Dong still has the biggest trump card, that is invisibility. To put it another way, if the sheriff really has a powerful firepower suppression that Chen Dong needs to avoid, then he can also do assassination. Of course, the premise of all this is that the sheriff really takes tough measures against Chen Dong one day, then he will not hesitate to use all his means to protect himself. At this time, many survivors in the chat channel have made up their minds to join the sheriff's team. The previous propaganda was just food and drink, but many people don't really care. They even think that small teams have their own advantages and more freedom. But after seeing the mutated zombie boars, many people began to think whether they really have the ability to survive the next increasing zombie tide. Number 356547, our team discussed and decided to go to the sheriff or other big teams, otherwise, we would not survive. Seeing that the zombies are getting stronger and stronger, and mutant creatures are starting to appear again, we still need to make plans early. Number 867896, it's okay, the big team is guaranteed, and it's okay to go. I also plan to take my teammates to the sheriff's police station. I will leave after asking my teammates for their opinions. Number 457543, although the small team will collect more supplies, but if you are not a survivor of the level of 10086, you should honestly join the big team. Number 958333, in the doomsday world, don't think about any ambitions. Being able to survive is the greatest luck. Although the police station led by the sheriff publicly killed the first mutant zombie creature, it did attract many survivors to join, but more of it still cast a layer of haze on the hearts of the survivors. If more mutant creatures and more advanced zombies appear in the future, will the police station be able to resist them? Who knows? No one knows. If they still die in the end, then why were they inexplicably dragged into this zombie world? However, Chen Dong didn't think so. He had Xia Anqi by his side. although he didn't know how long he could live. He might be killed by advanced zombies tomorrow, or he might live to the end, but he didn't want to be pessimistic, he wanted to live with Xianqi. Chapter 47 Repairing the TV. You are listening at novelfull.audio. People were panicked, and even Tian Xiaoyu came to Chen Dong to buy weapons again. Chen Dong, you should know that the police chief killed the first mutated zombie, right? Chen Dong quickly replied, I know, the chat channel is so lively, how could I not know? Tian Xiaoyu then sent a series of messages. Today we encountered a group of zombies. Zhang Zihao just threw me away and ran away. Fortunately, you sold me a lot of combat supplies before, otherwise, I would have left you there today. Chen Dong narrowed his eyes slightly. It's really upsetting that the other party is still alive and well, however, this selfish character has never changed, and it is not surprising. What are you doing with this kind of person? Just use the weapon I gave you to kill him. Tian Xiaoyu was a little helpless. Zhang Zihao has always been very vigilant. I'm not good at fighting either. I'm afraid it won't be that easy. However, he has been wanting to join some big teams recently, and they just parted ways. Chen Dong narrowed his eyes slightly. After so many days, my strength has been greatly developed, it's time to deal with each other. Whenever Zhang Zihao finds his next home, tell me and I will give him a big gift. Soon, Chen Dong received a reply. It must be the past few days. He has been encouraging me to join other teams recently. Especially today, I saw the police station where the chief of police killed mutant creatures. He can't hide his thoughts. Chen Dong thought for a while, the most important thing now is to get antiviral serum, just wait a few days and there shouldn't be any big changes. By the way, do you need any combat supplies? You managed to escape from the zombie horde today, so you should have almost all of them, right? Tian Xiaoyu sent a nodding expression. I really want to buy some from you, just buy some Molotov cocktails and arrows for crossbows, and also a critical Tang sword. Chen Dong clicked on the transaction window and placed the supplies. After the transaction was completed, Chen Dong ended the conversation with Tian Xiaoyu and returned to the villa area. I came out to test the power of the Tang Dao in a critical attack, and then hung up on the trading platform, unknowingly staying in the wild until noon. Back at the shelter, Chen Dong just walked in and saw Xianqi sitting on the sofa in the living room watching TV. A hard drive was connected to the TV, and programs like Animal World were playing on it. Chen Dong was a little surprised. The TV couldn't be turned on before. Unexpectedly, Xianqi actually repaired it. Watching TV in such an environment is really comfortable, and occasionally you can still find some feelings from the past. How did you turn on the TV? I haven't turned it on for a long time. Xianqi hugged Chen Dong's arm and said with a smile, it's just that the circuit board is broken. It's not a big problem. I'll try to repair it and it will be usable. Sharp. Chen Dong gave a thumbs up. But how do you know how to fix a TV? Repairing electrical appliances is considered a professional skill and cannot be mastered by ordinary people, Xianqi said nonchalantly. Looking at how many times others have practiced it, they are more or less good at it. I am also lucky this time. If the problem were more complicated, I would not be able to do anything about it. Next, the two hugged each other and huddled on the sofa, watching TV and eating French fries. In a daze, it feels like the experiences these days have been like a dream, but at this moment, there were bursts of banging on the door upstairs. Hey! Is there anyone there? I'm hungry. Bai Shui yelled, I almost forgot about this guy. Chen Dong glanced upstairs and asked, is she still honest? Has she done anything wrong? I did try to escape. Xianqi shook her head and didn't take it seriously. But with me watching, it didn't work. Good guy, you are really dishonest. Chen Dong curled his lips. Then starve her for a while first so that she can remember it. Next, the two of them seemed to have not heard Bai Shui's yelling and just watched TV. It wasn't until the other party complained that he was tired that he gave me a bottle of water and a pack of instant noodles. Chapter 48, Cleaning the Mines, Mutant Spiders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After eating, Chen Dong left the villa and headed to a mine. According to Bai Shui's information, there is also a gold-level supply box here. Now, any gold-level material is very precious to Chen Dong, so, he set out immediately, driving to the outskirts of the mine. Chen Dong looked at the dark mine entrance and remembered Bai Shui's reminder before setting off. Chen Dong, don't blame me for not reminding you. The periphery of this mine is not the most dangerous. With your strength, you can probably solve it in a few times. The most dangerous thing is inside the mine. I only know that there are many zombies inside, and, according to the survivors who narrowly escaped, there were big spiders inside. No one believed it at the time. Now that I think about it, I guess it was a mutated creature. After hearing this, Chen Dong nodded solemnly. After all, mutated creatures are not that easy to deal with. Chen Dong moved, pulling out the critical Tang sword. He moved nimbly behind the zombie and chopped off its head. In just a few breaths, the zombies outside the mine were slaughtered like vegetables. Shaking off the black blood stained on Tang Dao, Chen Dong stood at the entrance of the mine. I couldn't see clearly what was inside, but I could vaguely hear the roars of zombies and the whirring sound of gusts of cold wind. Chen Dong has already made plans. If things go wrong after entering, he will retreat immediately without looking back. You can still collect gold supplies in the future, but you only have one life. Chen Dong adjusted his breathing slightly and walked towards the mine. It was very dark inside, and I could only rely on the flashlight on my head to see the road ahead. Every time he went about 5 or 6 meters deep, Chen Dong would cut a hole in the stone wall and insert a gasoline-burning torch. Because I had to do this, I didn't walk very fast. He slowly walked closer and saw zombies and some human body parts. Thinking about it, these dead people should be the survivors who came to explore before. If you can't escape if you go deep here, there is only a dead end. Several zombies were attracted by the light of the flashlight on Chen Dong's head and began to rush over. Chen Dong took a few steps back slightly, leaving some space, and threw a few Molotov cocktails. Suddenly, strong flames blocked the zombies, but now the zombies don't seem to be as afraid of fire as before. Many of them were covered in flames and rushed over without fear of death. Chen Dong did not use a pistol. It was too dark in the mine, and Chen Dong was not sure he could aim at the zombie's head. Therefore, he chose to pull out the critical Tang sword. He held a critical Tang knife in each hand and slashed directly. Chen Dong doesn't know how to use Tang Dao, let alone dual swords. It's just that he is physically strong and crushes zombies in terms of strength. The two Tang knives slashed randomly at an extremely fast speed, cutting the zombies into pieces. When the last zombie fell, Chen Dong took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. One force can defeat 10 guilds. Our ancestors didn't just say this. Chen Dong continued to penetrate deep into the mine with his two critical Tang knives, and his momentum was overwhelming. It has to be said that the Tang Dao with critical strike status and the right range in the mine is simply an artifact. Roar. Chen Dong pulled out the Tang Dao from the head of the last zombie, and the entire mine became quiet again. However, the gold-level supply box Bai Shui mentioned was not found. Something is wrong. Chen Dong frowned. Could it be that Bai Shui's information was wrong? Or, will someone already get there first? But thinking about the zombies just now, this assumption is not valid. At this moment, a spider thread stuck to Chen Dong, who was caught off guard and dragged Chen Dong inside. The strength was so great that even he almost lost his balance and almost fell down. Deep in the darkness, the long string of spider silk was firmly tied to Chen Dong's left hand. When Chen Dong was killing zombies just now, he never noticed such a spider in the darkness. It wasn't until he was relaxed just now that he suddenly took action. It's so gloomy. Chen Dong cursed secretly in his heart and quickly saved himself. He immediately took out the torch and burned the spider silk. With the torch thrown on the ground and the flashlight on his head, Chen Dong could clearly see the rumored big spider. A huge spider was entrenched on the top of the mine, its whole body glowing with purple light, and its beautiful compound eyes like green emeralds were observing Chen Dong. The 8 legs, which are extremely thick and longer than ordinary spiders, gradually spread out to occupy the entire top of the mine. Chen Dong looked at the bosses that looked like those he only encountered in games. He had thousands of words in his heart, but in the end he turned them into just one sentence. Grass. Facing such a huge mutated zombie spider, Chen Dong felt unsure. you know, the first mutated creature that the sheriff and his gang hunted. They had to assemble the entire team to succeed. Whether the middle process is difficult, only they themselves know. Now, Chen Dong faced this mutated spider by himself. It's obviously a difficult challenge. Chen Dong wanted to walk back quietly and withdraw from the mine. Since I didn't find the gold-level supply box I wanted here, there was no need to risk falling at any time to fight such a big spider to the end. Big spider, please take your time and play by yourself. I have to go home to be with my wife. However, a single spider like you probably can't understand. Chen Dong teased the mutated spider while moving back gently. Hiss. Hiss. The mutant zombie spider screamed a few times, and then shot out a huge amount of spider silk. Chen Dong subconsciously rolled to the side to avoid the spider silk, cursing. Not really, brother, I was just teasing you. If I made you angry, I apologize, okay? At this time, Chen Dong realized that the spider silk was not aimed at him, but at the retreat behind him. By the time he realized this problem, the entrance to the cave had been sealed. Chen Dong frowned. He didn't expect that this mutant zombie creature would have such a high intelligence. I thought it was no different from the zombies that were walking dead and acting only on instinct. Now, I have to admit that the mutant zombie creature has a certain intelligence. With his retreat blocked, Chen Dong stood up, pulled out his pistol, and aimed at the mutant spider's head. Bang! One shot hit. The spider's beautiful compound eyes that could emit a faint light like gems were blown up by Chen Dong's shot, spurting out smelly black blood. Chapter 49, Pesticides Work, Golden Supplies Box in the Stomach. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The mutant spider screamed, and then blocked its eyes with its spider legs. Chen Dong saw that the first shot was effective, so he would not miss any opportunity, and fired one shot after another, but they were blocked by the spider's legs one by one. The mutant spider's shell was very hard. Although the bullets Chen Dong fired later hit the mutant spider's legs and abdomen, they were barely hanging on the outer layer, and even failed to completely penetrate the spider, leaving only bullet holes. Chen Dong had no time to be surprised, because when his pistol ran out of bullets and needed to replenish ammunition, the spider seized the opportunity and jumped directly from the top of the mine and swooped down. Chen Dong took back the pistol and pulled out the critical Tang sword. The mutant spider waved its 8 spider legs and poked at him. Chen Dong quickly made a block. If it had not temporarily reached the peak of the level enhanced physical fitness, it would really be unstoppable. Although the mutant spider was huge, its 8 spider legs were extremely flexible, and it was extremely destructive. Chen Dong dodged a spider leg that was heading in front of him, and the stone wall behind him was quickly cut open like tofu. Chen Dong threw out a Molotov cocktail and ignited the spider web that blocked the cave entrance, but because the spider web was too large, the Molotov cocktail exploded and was only burning slowly. Before, when Chen Dong's left hand was entangled by spider silk, he had already discovered that the spider silk of this mutant spider had also mutated, and was not afraid of fire. He had to rub it with a torch desperately at the time, and only broke free from the spider silk at the last moment. It seems that it will take some time to burn a passage to leave. During this time, he can only use all his skills to find a way to delay the mutant spider. During this process, Chen Dong kept dodging with his flexible body, and from time to time he stabbed the Tang sword into the relatively soft abdomen of the mutant spider. The pain made the mutant spider more and more manic. Unlike ordinary creatures, it will gradually weaken when it is attacked more and more. This mutant spider is more like being stimulated and launching a more violent attack. Chen Dong pursed his lips. I thought, isn't this the kind of violent boss that I used to play games with? When he thought he was about to succeed, the boss calmly opened the second stage and directly sent the player back to the resurrection point. However, if I explained it here, there is no resurrection point. Chen Dong smiled bitterly and could only concentrate more on avoiding the mutant spider's attack. Hiss. The mutant spider shot out spider silk, trying to restrict Chen Dong's actions. Chen Dong also made a prompt decision and immediately threw out 2 Molotov cocktails. Then he slid under the mutant spider and opened a hole in the opponent's abdomen with a critical Tang sword. Chen Dong grinned and said, "Fortunately, you are not a mutant tiger, otherwise, I would have given it away with a slide." He didn't really like to complain, but in such a highly tense situation, he unconsciously relieved his pressure by talking. even if it was talking to himself. The mutant spider gradually turned red-eyed. This was a real red eye. The originally green compound eyes gradually turned red. Chen Dong clearly felt that the mutant spider's momentum had changed a lot. At this time, the mutant spider had an unspeakable aura, which oppressed Chen Dong a little. Maybe this is the wildness of the mutant creature itself. At this time, Chen Dong suddenly had an idea. Since it is a spider, can it be dealt with insecticide? During this period, one day of the unlimited supplies distributed daily happened to be unlimited insecticide. 2 bottles of insecticide were thrown out. The mutant spider gently scratched with its spider legs, and the fragile iron packaging of the insecticide was torn. Bang! In an instant, the potion contained in the 2 bottles of insecticide exploded. The mutant spider smelled the smell of insecticide and actually moved to the side. It actually works. Although Chen Dong was speechless about such a nonsensical development, he would not miss the opportunity. He immediately took out new insecticide and sprayed it in the closed mine. The mutant spider kept waving its spider legs in place, and then rushed over. Chen Dong naturally would not give the mutant spider a chance to get close. He used his body advantage to perform a scene of an eagle catching a chicken with the other party. The mutant spider kept chasing behind, while Chen Dong put on a mask and kept pressing the insecticide spray. 1 bottle was used up and then another, and kept circling in the mine. Chen Dong was a little suspicious whether the insecticide was ineffective. The reason why the mutant spider avoided was just a subconscious action made by the survival instinct, but soon, the insecticide worked. The mutant spider suddenly stopped chasing Chen Dong and stood there a little shaky. It was like a drunk man who tried to stand up and shouted, "I'm not drunk." That even the mutant zombie spider could not escape the long-term intake of insecticide spray. The violence on the mutant spider gradually faded, and the red compound eyes began to turn back to green, and the momentum suddenly became sluggish. However, Chen Dong still did not dare to slack off. This is insecticide. Just now, he almost sprayed the entire mine with insecticide. Even he felt a little uncomfortable wearing a mask, and the mutant spider, which was originally restrained, was just a little dizzy. This made Chen Dong dare not relax, take advantage of his weakness to kill him. Chen Dong immediately drew out his critical strike Tang Dao and rushed over. Just as he approached, the mutant spider suddenly bounced up a spider leg and tried to attack Chen Dong. Sure enough, Chen Dong had been on guard against the opponent's counterattack and was not frightened by the sudden attack. He took the opportunity to cut a knife on the joint of the spider leg that the mutant spider stretched out. The spider leg was neatly cut. The mutant spider screamed, stretched out the other spider legs, and waved them randomly. Unfortunately, due to the dizziness caused by the insecticide and the injured torso, its mobility was greatly reduced. The attack that Chen Dong had to try his best to avoid was now easily avoided. 1 knife. Chen Dong cut off another spider leg. Another knife. Chen Dong cut open the mutant spider's compound eyes. 1 knife after another. Chen Dong cut off the mutant spider's head and disemboweled it. Chen Dong unexpectedly won this battle. I thought that he could just hold out until the spider web blocking the mine was burned, and then escape. He was lucky to be able to save his life. He never expected that he could kill this mutant zombie spider alone. Chen Dong was a little worried, so he stabbed it a few more times. After cutting off all the spider legs, he sat on the ground and rested for a while. This battle was more dangerous than all the battles he had experienced before. Although he succeeded in killing the mutant spider in the end, Chen Dong felt heavy in his heart after seeing the true strength of the mutant creatures. It seems that it is true as many survivors said, in this doomsday, it will become more and more difficult to survive. It is conceivable that a large number of survivors will be wiped out soon. The spider silk that blocked the exit of the mine just happened to burn a hole, which was enough to leave. Chen Dong stood up, but was attracted by the light emitted from the abdomen of the mutant spider. Using the critical Tang Dao to pry open the abdomen of the mutant spider, he saw a gold-level supply box emitting golden light. By Shui's information was correct, there was indeed a gold-level supply box here. However, I don't know when it was swallowed by the mutant spider. Chen Dong put the supply box back into his backpack directly, and did not check it immediately, but walked out of the mine. Impatiently, feeling the warmth of the sun and enjoying the joy of surviving the disaster. Go home. Chen Dong smiled. Then, he drove the dilapidated Jetta, singing loudly all the way, and left the mine. Chapter 50 Upload photos and show off. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the way back to the shelter, Chen Dong posted the photo he took after killing the mutant spider to the chat channel. It was not to recruit survivors like the sheriff, nor was it to dissuade anyone out of kindness. When you encounter a mutant creature, just run away. It was just to show off. Number 10086, I almost died just now. Fortunately, I was lucky and managed to catch it, with a photo of the mutant spider after its death. After this picture was posted, the chat channel was silent for a while. Then, a group of survivors sent question marks crazily, number 567 for 435. Number 578, 9323. Number 120, 9919. Number 234624343. Keep the formation. Number 10010, keep the formation. This is obviously fake, it must be photoshopped. As we all know, 10086 is a Lone Ranger. How could he single-handedly deal with such a large mutant spider? Fake, definitely fake. Number 10,000, yes, although I am reluctant to admit that 10,086 does have sufficient supplies, it is absolutely impossible for one person to single-handedly kill the mutant spider. He must have found helpers. Number 567, 8567, you two are crazy about bashing 10,086. In our doomsday world, there is no Photoshop. How can the pictures uploaded through the system be fake? Number 10,000, he must have found helpers. Anyway, how could he be alone? Number 10086, how lonely it is to be invincible. Number 10,000, 10086, you. Number 10086, believe it or not, I have already taken the supply box home, I just share this matter, shy expression. After sending the message, Chen Dong chuckled and closed the chat channel. His goal has been achieved. It is also a pleasure to attract the hatred value of 10,010 and 10,000 every day. Chen Dong stepped on the accelerator deeply, and the speed exceeded 100 km per hour. The dilapidated Jetta rushed, carrying him back to the shelter. Since Chen Dong collected the materials to repair the Jetta gearbox, this old car has been reborn and can be shifted to the fifth gear at will, which greatly improves Chen Dong's efficiency in collecting materials. On the other side, the sheriff was frowning and looking at the message sent by Chen Dong just now, and sighed heavily. This 10086 seems to have exceeded our expectations. His materials are far beyond our imagination. They suffered heavy losses in order to hunt the mutant zombie boar. They spent a lot of materials and let some cannon fodder use cold weapons at any cost, so that they successfully won the title of hunting the first mutant creature. If it was later, I'm afraid it would be taken away by 10086. The stinger standing next to the sheriff thought about it and said, Sheriff, is it possible that 10,086 found helpers as other survivors guessed? Obviously, the stinger didn't believe that 10,086 alone could hunt such a huge mutant spider. After all, he was the main force in hunting mutant wild boars, and he knew very well how difficult mutant zombie creatures were. The sheriff shook his head after hearing this. It's unlikely. He is a Lone Ranger. If he needed external help, he would not have rejected our invitation so decisively. Obviously, he doesn't trust other survivors. The stinger looked unbelievable and said puzzledly, that's impossible. It's incredible that one person can kill mutant creatures. The sheriff enlarged the picture of Chen Dong, pointed at the gunshot wounds and knife wounds and said, Look, these obvious gunshot wounds obviously did not cause much damage to the mutant spiders. The focus should be the critical Tang sword of 10,086. You also have a critical Tang sword in your hand. You should know how sharp this critical weapon is against zombies. If I'm not mistaken, he must still have stock in his hands, not sold out as he said. The stinger nodded. What the sheriff said is that the critical strike Tang Dao is indeed extremely sharp when dealing with zombies. But he can't just use a critical strike Tang Dao to deal with the mutant spider. After all, we used a lot of supplies to consume the mutant wild boar, and finally I went up to harvest it. The sheriff waved his hand and said, So, this is what I said, 10,086 supplies are beyond our imagination. It must be the case that we consumed the mutant spiders and finally used the critical strike Tang Dao to harvest. The stinger frowned and asked, then, are we going to be friends with him? The sheriff sneered. Be friends? That's absolutely impossible. Even if his strength does make me a little afraid, as long as we are willing to spend a lot of money to solve this worry, everything is worth it. Sheriff, so, are we going to start dealing with him? The sheriff nodded. That day is coming soon, let him enjoy himself for a while. Chen Dong naturally would not have thought that the sheriff would have decided to kill him just because of a picture. Chen Dong drove back to the villa area, and the barrier wall slowly opened. Welcome back, my master. Xia Anqi and Bai Shui also came out in advance to greet Chen Dong, who was out for the day. Bai Shui was very unhappy. Why should I come out to greet him? I'm a hostage. How can a hostage welcome the kidnapper so well? Xia Anqi laughed and said, that's not right. Since you are a hostage, shouldn't you please the kidnapper even more? Aren't you afraid that Chen Dong will kill you? That's right. If you make me angry, I'll throw you out to feed the zombies. Chen Dong parked the car in the garage, walked over, and heard the conversation between the two. Xia Anqi naturally held Chen Dong's hand and asked softly, are you not hurt? What can happen to me? Don't worry. Bai Shui looked a little strange. I didn't expect that you actually killed a mutant spider by yourself. I really underestimated you. Chen Dong rolled his eyes unhappily. Do you really want me to die? Bai Shui snorted coldly. Of course, if you die, I will just run away. Who cares if you live or die? Thank you so much. But I am strong and I came back with a gold-level supply box. Are you angry? Chen Dong was in a good mood. When he came back, he opened the gold-level supply box, automatic defense weapon system. Although there is only this one item, it is definitely a timely help for Chen Dong. At present, the strength of zombies and survivors has begun to improve. What Chen Dong is most worried about is the safety protection of the shelter. Although there are gold-level barriers and walls, there has always been a lack of active defense weapons. Once they go out, it is very likely that the shelter will be occupied by other survivors. Now, this worry no longer exists.